In tonight's It's the Law, we're discussing libel and slander. Attorney Adam Peoples with James W. Davis and Associates is here to talk us through the legal issues when someone makes a false statement that could damage an individual's or an organization's reputation. Good evening. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Libel and slander. This can be really confusing. Now, libel is something someone sees. So when, in this instance, would someone sue over libel?
Okay, well, in this case, you would sue if somebody said something about you that was harmful, that upset you, that caused damages, and they published it in some kind of way so that other people may think of you poorly or affect your reputation.
All right, then explain the difference between libel and slander, because I know one is when you see it and one is when you hear it. So what's the difference there?
That's basically it. One is when it's written generally and so that it can be published. The other is just simply spoken.
Okay, and now libel is something you actually see, right?
Yeah. Well, what we're asking, what the court wants to know if you brought a claim for this is, number one, whether or not it was a statement that was made that was believed to be truth. It can't be an opinion, but it's got to be an actual.
Now, we say a statement that we have heard or that we see, but are you talking about like in a magazine? Or are we saying on my paper that I did in grad school? Explain a little bit where in each instance we would see this.
Sure, yeah. A magazine is probably not a good example because it's unlikely that a magazine is going to go to the trouble of publishing something that's going to get them in trouble. They've got people to be careful. The more common examples that our viewers might see is something like Facebook or Twitter,
gotcha,
where you can make a statement like that and it can actually come back to bite you.
Now, that's interesting. I was just telling you, I took a media ethics and law class years ago, learned about libel and slander. Facebook wasn't even a thing then. So right. I'm sure this has kind of grown and changed and evolved. Have you seen people suing more people, taking people to court because of social media?
Yeah, absolutely. And big judgments are being had. It's a real problem.
Who are you seeing being sued? Who's getting in trouble?
That's the thing, anybody can. But maybe back, a long time ago, it was just news organizations and public figures who actually had the chance to get their own speech published in a wide way. But right now we're talking about, anybody could have a broadcast network, a Twitter following of thousands of people. So it's really easy to publish.
Is anybody. Okay, what advice do you have for someone who, let's say I want to take somebody to court for slander?
Well, I want you to think about it very carefully.
Okay.
If you bring a case for slander, someone has said something that hurt your feelings, upset you, offended you.
It's got to be more than feelings, right?
Well, yeah, but the point is that if it's upset you bad enough when you heard it the first time, do you really want to bring it to court? You're going to hear it 1,000 more times when you go to the judge and you go to the jury. They're going to rehash that statement over and over and over again, which might make it very uncomfortable for you.
Interesting stuff. We have a viewer question for you.
Sure.
Someone needs some advice. This is from Michael. On my separation notice, it states that I was terminated for a blatantly untruthful and racially disparaging statement. Should they just have written that I was in violation of the company's anti-harassment policy? Should I consider what they wrote slander because this type of statement can follow a person? Also, the actual statement that I was fired for was, do you think you got your promotion because of affirmative action? Okay, I know that's loaded. Adam, tell me, what advice do you have for Michael?
Well, I'll tell Michael that he's got a couple of burdens to overcome. In order to have a cause of action, he'd have to show that the statement was published. In this case, he might not be able to pass that burden if it was written in his separation notice. Now, if his employer took it and posted it on the lunchroom board for everyone to see that he made this kind of statement, he actually probably has a claim. But if it's written in your private separation notice, he fails that element of defamation where it has to be published to a third party. This is a private conference between him and his employer, as best I can tell.
All right, interesting stuff. Thanks so much for helping us out tonight. We appreciate it. Send us your legal questions to itsthelaw@41nbc.com.